Anyone who is conscious enough of his or her religion has heard about the sarcasm of the atheists against those who believe in the existence of a God who deserves to be worshipped, who is also the Lord who creates, sustains, and manages his creations. This sarcasm is often outright insulting, to the point that they could almost make us believe that people who believe in God are idiots, and you need to be an atheist in order to be smart. For the atheist, religion is mere superstition, and the person who holds some form of belief in God is no different from children who believe in imaginary friends who are with them in imaginary events. For them, atheism is a liberation from the idiotic belief that there was a supreme being that was all-powerful that could have created the universe and everything that is in it, including us, humans. Atheism is a strange belief, really, because belief in God or some form of supernatural powerful being in some form or another is ingrained in the human psyche for thousands of years, regardless of what religion people practice. But this strangeness or abnormality is being used by the atheists to prove their point further by saying that there are those who are intelligent enough to be enlightened. Or were they? People who believe in God have refuted the atheists, especially their claim that God could not be existent because he is neither observable nor measurable, an argument that has already been debunked by the story of the atheist professor whose brain is unobservable as it is, of course, unseen. But since most people who believe in God are courteous enough not to argue in dark humor as most atheists, let us reflect on this educated exposition of how our modern understanding of science is not denying God, but is rather reinforcing the belief in God. Human knowledge has two different phases, the Pre-Einstein Period and the Post-Einstein Period. In the Pre-Einstein Period, knowledge was confined to the macro or material world, which was observable and measurable. So, it was generally held that everything which has a real existence should also be observable. Anything which could not be observed had no real existence. This meant that only the seen world was real, and what was unseen was unreal or some kind of fiction. This concept created a theory that is generally called logical positivism. It means that the only valid logical argument is one that is demonstrable in material terms. Otherwise, it is simply a baseless claim and not a valid argument. But in the post-Einstein period, in the early years of the 20th century, when the atom was split, the whole situation changed. After the splitting of the atom, matter as a solid substance disappeared. It was replaced by the micro world, beyond the atomic world, where everything was reduced to unseen waves, neither measurable nor observable. This disproves the to see is to believe tenet that most people are holding in order to deny the existence of God. Present-day science includes so many things such as electrons, the law of gravity, X-rays, etc., all of which are non-material in nature. They cannot be observed, but every scientist believes in their existence, for the simple reason that, although we cannot see these things directly, we can see their effect. For example, a falling apple in the case of gravity and a photofilm in the case of X-rays. We believe in the existence of all these things, not by observation, but by their result. In other words, by way of indirect knowledge or inferential argument. In other words, if we believed in these things, why could not we believe in the creator of all these things? Why not ponder on the improbability that the perfection of the design of most creations, both living and non-living, could have been the result of accidental merger between atoms and molecules? This change in human knowledge also changed the theory of logic. Now, it is well established in science that inferential argument is as valid as direct argument. In the pre-Einstein era, unbelievers held that the concept of God pertains to the unseen world. And since no direct argument was available to bear this out, belief in God was held to be illogical, and all the relevant indirect arguments were considered scientifically invalid, since they were inferential in nature. But now, the whole situation has changed. Nothing is observable. So, the existence of anything can be established only by means of inferential argument, rather than by direct argument. If inferential argument is valid with regard to the unseen micro-world, it is also valid with regard to the existence of God. Again, atheism was never the nature of man. It is man's avarice, pride, and self-admiration that made him think that he does not need God to guide him or sustain him, let alone create him and everything that exists. If the concept of God is present in our flesh and blood, why does one question the existence of God? The reason is very simple. People want to know whether there is a rational basis to their inner belief, whether there is some scientific proof in favor of their inner feelings. There is certainly a scientific basis for belief in the existence of God, but people generally fail to discover it for the simple reason that they try to apply a criterion that they wrongly believe to be scientific. They want a proof in terms of observation, whereas this is neither the scientific method nor the criterion by which to judge. If you apply the right criterion, you will find that God is a proven fact.